Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Tamika, aka Fit Prison Wife. Welcome to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are new, you may know my story about my husband being locked up for 6 years and me having to transition into single parenthood. But now my husband is home, so now I'm transitioning again. But I am teaching women how to use fitness and self-care as a tool um, to get back to a place where they can thrive at life if they're feeling stagnant and feeling stuck or maybe feeling a little down and they really want to get back to a place where they have a healthier body, they learn how to thrive in adversity, and they're getting back to being who they are at heart, being themselves. So today we're going to be talking about cravings. So all this month of September, I've been talking about cravings, how to deal with cravings. And my last video, I talked about nighttime cravings, and I spoke more on the physical things that can lead to having cravings. And I like to mix a lot. I do believe fitness relates a lot to your personal development and personal goals. There's a lot that can translate. So even though I'm talking about fitness, I like to intermingle it with just like positive mindset things, because this is what I'm all about. So if you saw my last video, we talked about hydration, food intake. We also talked about I think we talked about the gut last time. I can't remember off the top of my head, but today we're going to talk about more of the mental aspect of dealing with cravings. So the first thing that comes to mind when I think about cravings, I cannot help but think about the first time that I competed. So for those of you who may know, my first figure competition, like bodybuilding, that was about 3 years ago now. And I went into it not really knowing what to expect and how it was going to be. And right before I came on to do this, I was like, I got to talk about that, because as you all know, if you're training for a fitness competition, it's all about, being able to display your muscles. If you've ever been to a show, it's awesome. It's, a lot of posing and you'll see the best bodies. And I love seeing the older women because they look like they could be 50 and they look like they're in their 30s. It's crazy. But my first competition, when I didn't know what to expect, that is when I really dealt with the cravings. And overall, I was never really a huge person that craved certain foods all the time, maybe on occasions, certain times of the month, maybe, or something. But for the most part, it wasn't a huge issue for me. But when I trained for my fitness figure competition, I had to work. So the biggest thing for me, why I say dealing with cravings is mental, is because I think I did an awesome job at staying away from foods that I was not supposed to have. So number one, I think the biggest thing that people deal with overall, and I have to say this before I get into it, is you have to give yourself some leeway. People have this idea that, if they go off their diet or what they set for themselves, and if they have something that they planned on not eating, they kind of go crazy and say, oh my God, I ruined my diet. And they think everything is over and they just pretty much ruined everything. And I totally believe that is not the right mindset. If I went into my competition with that mindset, I would have never made it. And you guys know I won my first competition, my debut competition. I actually won that one. And I dealt with what everyone else probably had to deal with. So because I'm such a competitive person, the main reason why I think I did an awesome job of avoiding certain foods was that my will to win was so strong. It was very rare that I did veer off my diet, but if I did, it was because I planned on doing it. So as I was just saying earlier, sorry, I'm backing up, that, you have to give yourself some mercy, give yourself some grace, that the ride is not over just because you may have slipped up or have eaten something that is not part of the plan. It's okay. It really is. You have to give yourself that grace and know that your ride is going to be up and down. Perfection is never required when you're reaching any type of goal, whether it's fitness or just a life goal that you have in mind, whatever it may be. You must expect road bumps along the path. Okay. So because I'm such a competitive person, I use that to my advantage. And I think anyone could do this. So the biggest time that I had cravings is when I went to go pick my children up from their grandmother's house. So if you have a grandmother that cooks, y'all know that there's cookies, biscuits, all kinds of food in the refrigerator, right? So I walk in there and I'm like, okay, all right, Tamika, I just got to make it into the house and make it out the house. So it really was just one step at a time. This is how I made it through that 18 months, because I trained 18 months for my competition. Now, all 18 months was not all strict. It was really those last 6 months where I really got, I was on my game, right? Because that's when it really, the closer you get to your competition date, the more it matters. So I had to deal with cravings one moment at a time. And that's what I tell my clients. Everything is one moment at a time. So when I went to go pick my kids up, I knew the desire to win. My competition was greater than me having that cookie or whatever it is that was in that house. Because sometimes when you have cravings, you might not even be thinking about anything. But when you are around food, you're like, I want that. And you weren't even thinking about it before, right? That's how I am. So I may not be thinking about having a cookie, but if I walk into Graham's house and see a jar of cookies, now I want a cookie, right? Anybody else have that problem? So, but the reason why I say sometimes dealing with cravings is mental is because you got to have a why. Your why has to be so strong that it will stop anything or any reason for you falling off. Now, granted, you can't be on 100 all year round. There's periods of time where I'm more lenient on myself, and there's other times where I'm very strict. Very strict is me in competition mode when I'm planning to be in a competition. That's the only time I'm very strict, right? So that is the absolute hardest time to deal with cravings, because you can't have it if you want to win. And I'm a winner. I go in to win. So because my why was so strong, what's up? Hey, Tina. Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you guys have comments, let me know. So, if your why is strong enough, you can defeat anything. So we talked about all the physical components of cravings last time, but it's partly mental. So if you want something bad enough, you will find a way to work around it. I promise you. My why to win my competition was so great. There was no reason for me to do it. And I looked at it not as a 18-month process, but as a moment at a time. So when I walked in the house, I just said my next goal was to get out the house without sticking my hand in a cookie jar. And then once I made it out the house, woo, I'm good, right? So boom, even if it wasn't a craving I had in my mind before I walked in the house, because I saw it, my body automatically was like, oh, I want that. And because I was already kind of in a state of depriving myself from sweets and things that weren't going to help me win my competition, it's like you're more in tune with when you see things that you're not supposed to be having, right? So it makes it that much more challenging. But I know if I can avoid cravings at the height or the hardest point of having to deal with that, technically you would think I could do it at any time of day or on a normal day. But that's not true. That's not true. She said, that's how I feel about coffee. It's not true. It would be near impossible for me to avoid cravings right now, though I have control, but it's near impossible for me to have the same level of discipline right now when I'm not training for anything in particular to when I was training for something. And you have to understand that. My why, I don't have a why right now to say, no, I don't need to eat that right now, because there's no reason for me not to, right? I always maintain a certain level of how I should look, how I should feel. I view myself as an athlete, right? And because I view myself that way, I always maintain a certain look about myself, and I expect myself to have a certain level of strength, right? So on a given level, I always have a certain level of discipline, no matter what, just because of what I identify myself as, right? So I'm never going to go past a certain point, but I'm not always going to be on that level where I'm on point 100% all the time. That's impossible. And if your expectation is to be that way, you have a false line of thinking. So this is when I go back to what I said earlier about easing up on yourself, right? So ease up on the expectation that you have to be perfect. It's okay if you eat something that's not part of your plan. Accept it, enjoy it. Tomorrow, let's get back on it, right? So having some mercy on yourself. And then also, you need to plan things in your diet. You're not meant to eat all lettuce all day. I don't even do that. Like, what I'm trying to say is you're not meant to have a whole diet of just like perfect nutrition. That's so unrealistic, and you can't do that for a lifetime. So there should be things in your diet that you should be purposely eating that you enjoy. That should be part of your plan. And you shouldn't feel guilty about it either. I don't ever feel guilty about eating ice cream. And I love ice cream for those of you who know, right? So I don't feel guilty about it, but I know 90% of what I eat is good. And I don't feel guilty about eating it at all because my lifestyle dictates living healthy. This is not a 1 day, 1 week, 1 year thing. This is me on a good day and on a bad day. This is always going to be me. So, and I ask you to do the same for yourself. And then if you're serious about your fitness journey, you got to have a strong enough why. I don't mean like you want to lose weight. I mean, why do you want to lose weight? I remember, you got to kind of ask yourself, keep digging. Why? So I'm thinking back to a lady who wanted to lose weight. And the real core reason why she wanted to lose weight was because her husband wasn't looking at her anymore. That's why she wanted to lose weight. So that was what's going to motivate her, right? And I don't really like using the word motivate because I honestly don't believe you can achieve any goal with motivation. I know that sounds crazy. I do believe it's all about your why. Why do you want to succeed? Because there's going to be times when you don't feel like doing it. There's going to be times when you want to give in and eat anything, right? So it all comes back to your why. I'm just going to keep saying that, right? Why do you want to do this? So you need to evaluate what it is that's pushing you. What is it that's going to keep you going, right? Because that's the only thing that matters. That is the only thing that matters. When your back is up against the wall, you need to remember why you started. Why are you here? What is the pain that you're running from or trying to avoid? Where are you trying to go? That's what you need to remember. And you got to keep going. So it doesn't matter what your goal is, whether we're talking about cravings or a different goal. It's all the same. It's all the same. The same lessons you learn in fitness are the same ones you can apply to your everyday life goals, right? It all comes down to your why. So that is the same thing I'm teaching in my program, teaching women how to use fitness as a tool. Basically, you're going to be learning habits and the mindset of how to get out of that place if you feel stuck and stagnant. And you really want to get to a place where you're achieving your goals, living the way you want to live so you're happy and you have a body you love, right? Who wouldn't want that? So if you're not already following me on Instagram, you guys can check me out, Fit Prison Wife. And also I have a Facebook group that I just started, Body Confident Goal Smashers. You can join that, request to join the group. That group's for women only. So feel free to hop on there as well. And for those of you who are interested, I have a free ebook. If you guys want more information about how to deal with cravings, you can drop a comment in the video here and I will get you your free ebook. And every month I'm going to talk about a new topic. So I plan on organizing some dates when I'm going to do some live discussion, live, talks. So I'll post all that stuff so you guys have access to that. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop some in the comments and I will get back to you. All right. Catch you next time.